I've been using the Godox ES45 as my main key light for all of my videos ever since I got it over a month ago. It is awesome, but it does have one glaring issue. Even though the panel is frosted, the light isn't as soft as my previous setup. And for me, for the type of videos that I make, that softness matters, especially since I'm filming on the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which has a small sensor, meaning that the dynamic range isn't as great as mirrorless cameras, for example. Also, the highlight roll-off could be better. So I aim to fix that, and the easiest way to fix that is through a softbox. But here's the problem. Godox doesn't make a softbox specifically for the ES45. And that's where things got interesting. What I found led me down the rabbit hole that eventually ended up on AliExpress with a softbox that's not even made for this light. I spent hours searching, hoping that someone somewhere made a compatible softbox. They don't. So I went old school. I measured the dimensions of the ES45, and by measured I mean I searched online, and started hunting for anything in the ballpark. And I actually found one, and ironically enough, it's still from Godox. It's a softbox they make for one of their other lights, the LED P260C. Now, the dimensions aren't exact, but it's close enough. And it's better to be on the safe side and have the softbox be a little bit larger and make it fit rather than it being too small. So once I found that, I thought, this is it, I figured it out. But of course, there's another problem. Nobody sells these in my country, and we don't have Amazon here. So I had to turn to AliExpress. And look, I know people have mixed feelings about AliExpress, but in a pinch, when you don't have any other options, you gotta do what you gotta do. So 3 weeks later, ta-da, it came. So let's unbox this thing and see if I can actually make it fit on the ES45. Alrighty then, so everything comes nicely packed in this carrying bag, which, if you can see, has a nice texture to it, but nothing too fancy, nothing too important. But what is important is what comes inside of it. And the first thing you'll find is this, which is the grid for the light and the softbox. It's kind of crumpled up, but with Velcro, this should fit nicely on the softbox. Next up, we have, ta-da, diffusion. Again, this will stick via Velcro to the softbox itself. And by the size of it, it's not too big, but hopefully the softbox will be big enough to fit the ES45. And speaking about the softbox, let me just move these out of the way. This is not gonna fit in the shot. This is the softbox itself. Now, when you get it in the bag, it can actually fold up pretty nicely and fit in the bag. I did a piss poor job of it now, but you'll figure it out. And the way you set it up is by using Velcro. So it has Velcro on this side and Velcro on the back here. Just fit these two together, and here you go. You now have your softbox. And on the back, you have these 4 straps, which have Velcro again, that are used to strap onto the light itself. And here you go. This is the softbox. Okay, so I took the panel off the stand, and now let's see if I can make this fit. At first glance, this should fit perfectly. The softbox is a bit smaller, but that's fine because it only covers this part, the middle part of the panel itself. So let me just put this to the side, unstrap these. Okay, and now strap it in. I'm gonna put it a bit to the side so I don't cover the exhaust for the fans. And now, if I flip it over, ta-da, softbox. And voila, now we have the grid on it. Now let me install the light back on the stand and see if it actually does anything. Okay, now let's do a test. This is the image without the softbox attached. I'm gonna have it with the softbox and with the softbox and the grid. I am currently at 15% power at 5600 Kelvin, and the camera is telling me that I am at -1 EV, so I am underexposed, but that's mainly because my background is underexposed. If I were to expose properly on the camera and have it at 0 EV, that would mean I would be overexposed, and that's definitely not what I want. And I'm currently shooting in D-Log M to get the most dynamic range possible. So this is how it looks. Take a look at the shadows, see if the highlight roll-off works or not. So I'm gonna look straight at the camera. I'm gonna look to my left, back at the camera, and to my right. and now back again. Now I'm gonna put on the softbox and do the exact same test and tell you if anything changes. Hopefully you'll see a difference. And now we have the light with the softbox but no grid attached. I had to modify the intensity of the ES45. I am now at 35% at 5600 Kelvin. The exposure on the camera is still at -1 EV, and this is the way it looks. Does it make an actual difference? Is the highlight roll-off better? Is the softness even perceivable? Or is it exactly the same? So I'm gonna do the exact same test. I'm gonna look directly into the camera, to my left, back to the camera, and to my right. How does it look? Did I spend my hard-earned money wisely, or did I just waste it? You be the judge. Now I'm gonna put on the grid and do the exact same test. Okay, so now we have the softbox and the grid attached. The light setting is now currently at 50% power, 5600 Kelvin, and the exposure on the camera, it shows that I am at -1 EV, which is a bit underexposed, but that's mainly because my background is underexposed. It's a bit dark, but judging from what I see on the screen on the Osmo Pocket 3, my face should be properly exposed. Obviously, I'm gonna do some tweaks in post-production, but I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did to get this image. So let's do the test again. This is me looking straight forward into the camera. Now to my left, back to the camera, and to my right, and back again to the camera. How does it look? So I've uploaded the footage onto my computer, put it into a Premiere Pro timeline, slapped a LUT, the official DJI D-Log M2X 709 LUT, without doing any other corrections to the image, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts. Now, seeing all three images side by side from the get-go, the one that stands out as being different is the one with the softbox and the grid, and that is to be expected because by having a grid on it, the light doesn't spill all around the room, it directs it straight towards my face. So that's why the background is darker. And also, by the looks of it, my face is contrastier as well. And that again makes sense because on the right side of my face, right here, I have a white wall. And without the grid, the light spills all over the room, hits that white wall, and fills in this side of my face. With the grid, not as much light hits that side. So the fill that's on the right side of my face isn't as pronounced. So that's why it's a bit more contrastier, a bit more shadowy and mysterious. Ooh. Now, between the images of the light itself and the light with the softbox, the only thing that I'm noticing is on the blue wall behind me, it isn't like the gradient between the lighter side and the darker side isn't as pronounced as it is in the image with only the ES45 without the softbox. Other than that, both the images, the one with the light only and the one with the softbox, look pretty much identical. But now let's zoom in and have a close-up look at my face. Oh boy, look at that mug. Now for this one, I'm gonna go one by one. I'm gonna compare first the image of the ES45 and the one with the softbox. And in terms of shadows, like the shadows that you see next to my nose, it isn't that big of a difference, but you can see that the shadow is a little bit softer on the image with the softbox, which technically that's exactly what should happen. It isn't that big of a difference because, again, the softbox itself isn't all that large. But what I'm most interested in, and this is one of the main points and the main advantages of a softbox, if you take a look at my forehead, you will see some hot spots. I have fairly oily skin, and all that oil is reflecting all of the light. So in the image with the ES45, without any softbox, without any diffusion, you can definitely see hot spots in the middle of my forehead and right above my eyebrow. But if you compare it to the image with the softbox, that oily skin, that hot spot, is way toned down. And yes, it makes for a more pleasing image. So in this particular scenario, the softbox does work, and it's definitely worth the investment. Now, comparing the image with the softbox against the image with the softbox and the grid, again, it's a little bit of a visual illusion because it looks darker and more contrastier, but that again, it's because I don't get enough fill from this white wall that I have on my right. But in terms of shadow softness, To be honest, it doesn't look as soft as the one with the Softbox. I think it's more comparable to the one without the Softbox, but that still might have to do with the fact that I don't get enough fill on that side of my face. But looking again at my forehead, those hot spots aren't as pronounced. So the diffusion is still there, it's just that the image is way more contrastier and the background is darker. So is the Softbox worth it? Considering that I paid $12 to $13 for it, yeah, it's a worthwhile investment. It does what it's supposed to do. Could have been better, yes, but again, I would have to move to a much larger Softbox, which is one of the reasons why I got the ES45 to begin with. But what do you guys think? Do you see an actual difference? And I know with YouTube compression, it might not be what I'm seeing, but is it worth it? Is it not? Do you see a difference? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do want to know why I got the ES45 to begin with, then you need to watch this video next.